In all of our studies, we found the same thing. These same biological mechanisms that affect performance also affect our health. Chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and endothelial function.
When you eat animal products, you start to form plaques in the coronary arteries. Plaque formation in the arteries doesn't just limit the function of the arteries, it can also block the blood flow, and that's when the heart starts to have some real problems keeping up with the demands of the body.
In terms of heart disease, oftentimes there's confusion. People think that, well, I don't eat red meat, so I'm okay. We know that it's more complicated than that. It's not just red meat. It's not just the fat.
For nearly 50 years, we were told that the primary cause of heart disease was saturated fat and cholesterol, and that leaner meats, lower fat dairy products, and egg whites were the solution. But the research now shows that the other inflammatory compounds in animal foods, like those that can impair athletic recovery, also play a significant role in the development of heart disease.
We're going to do a whole lot better by just getting rid of the animal products. And there are really good biochemical reasons for that. Heme iron is one of them, for example.
Heme iron is from an animal source, right? So most commonly you think red meat, even though poultry have it, fish has it. They did a meta-analysis looking over 6 prospective dietary studies, over 130,000 patients, and they came to the conclusion that 1 milligram a day of heme iron is associated with a 27% increasing risk of coronary heart disease. To put that in perspective, an average hamburger patty has about 2 to 3 milligrams.
And it isn't just the iron in animal foods that can cause problems. It's actually the animal protein itself.
It's not just red meat, not just chicken, not just eggs, not just milk. It's the ingestion of any animal protein. At that moment in time, a process begins at a chemical level inside the body.
When the protein found in animal foods is cooked, preserved, or even just digested by our gut bacteria, highly inflammatory compounds are formed that corrode our cardiovascular system. This helps explain why people who get all of their protein from plants reduce their risk of heart disease by 55%. It would also help explain why the only diet that has ever been shown to actually reverse heart disease is a plant-based one.
What we found is that in the first month, there was improvement in blood flow and the heart began to pump blood more normally. After a year, even severely clogged coronary arteries became measurably less clogged, and even more improvement after 5 years. But in the randomized control group, who were doing just what their doctors told them to do at the time, less red meat, more fish and chicken, little exercise and so on, their arteries got more clogged after 1 year and even more clogged after 5 years.
I think one of the biggest misconceptions in sports nutrition is that we have to have animal protein, and in particular meat, to get big and strong and perform at a high level. That's just clearly not true. All that protein that you get when you eat a steak or a hamburger, where did it come from? It came from the plants that the cow ate.
I was surprised to learn that all protein originates in plants. Cows, pigs, and chickens, it turns out, are just the middlemen. In fact, the largest study to compare the nutrient intake of meat eaters with plant eaters showed that the average plant eater not only gets enough protein, but 70% more than they need. Even meat eaters like me get roughly half of their protein from plants. But athletes need more protein than most people do. So I crunched the numbers from the study and realized that based on the amount of calories I was eating, I'd still be getting more than enough protein to build and maintain muscle. For example, 1 cup of cooked lentils or a peanut butter sandwich has about as much protein as 3 ounces of beef or 3 large eggs. But what about the quality of the protein? I'd always heard that plant-based protein was inferior.
Proteins are strings of amino acids, and there are some amino acids our bodies can't make. Those are the essential amino acids. So we have to get them from food. And one of the arguments about animal-based proteins being superior is that plant-based proteins aren't complete, so you're not going to get all the amino acids, and that's a fallacy as well.
Again, I was surprised to discover that every single plant contains all the essential amino acids in varying proportions. And when it comes to gaining strength and muscle mass, research comparing plant and animal protein has shown that as long as the proper amount of amino acids are consumed, the source is irrelevant.
These results were astonishing. The diet produced something that medication and surgery never had before: actual reversals of heart disease. The biological mechanism that caused these reversals centers on the lining of our veins and arteries, the endothelial cells.
They are the absolute life jackets of our blood vessels. You're young and you're a teenager, you're healthy. You could spread those out one layer thick and you'd have something that would cover 6 or 8 tennis courts.
In 1988, scientists discovered that endothelial cells manufactured the gas nitric oxide.
Well, what does nitric oxide do? Nitric oxide keeps our blood flowing smoothly without being sticky.
It also helps to dilate constricted blood vessels during physical activity and inhibits the formation of plaque.
And most importantly, nitric oxide is a powerful force for eliminating the inflammation that seems to go with this plaque.
However, scientific tests have demonstrated that when we start eating the typical Western diet, our endothelial cells are damaged.
When you're getting to be in your 40s and 50s and 60s and you've been slaughtering your endothelial cells, you don't have those 6 or 8 tennis courts. You may be down to 1.5 or 2, and they can't protect you.
Yet according to Dr. Esselstyn, when we begin eating a whole foods plant-based diet, the damage to our endothelial cells not only stops, it starts to reverse.
We knew the science of food and the color code that Allah God put on fruits and vegetables. So whenever we needed energy, we looked for red fruit and red vegetables. Whenever we felt like we were mentally fatigued, we went after the yellow fruits and vegetables, the squashes and the bananas. Whenever we needed to calm down and relax, we went after the blueberries and the eggplants and the grapes of the blue-colored family. Whenever we needed to help our digestive process, we went after the green vegetables and the green fruit to help our digestion. Whenever we felt disease sneaking up on us and we needed to boost our immune system, we ate the orange family. And the color coding of the fruits and vegetables, we knew it scientifically. Therefore, we ate to live on the motherland. We had the first universities.
Well, I should be in pretty good shape there because I use NutraSweet in my cereal and stuff.
NutraSweet causes nerve damage. So you're looking at Alzheimer's, Parkinson, you're probably too senile to know you're eating sugar after a while. So you're looking at nerve damage, and you don't want that. It causes mood swings, causes rage and violence. You don't want to go there with the NutraSweet. It's a poison.
It is?
Yes.
Well, how about Sweet and Low?
Aspartame, it has alcohol in it. It dries up the nervous system, and it causes neurological damage. So you don't want to damage your nerves, which means you're damaging your brain. The sugar causes the brain to lose oxygen. White sugar, brown sugar, turbinado sugar, maple syrup. It takes the oxygen away from the brain cells, which causes them to die. You don't want to rob your body of nutrients. You eat to give your body nutrients. And when you're eating a concentrated sweetener, such as white sugar, you're robbing your body.
This is man-made.
It's a substance that would definitely lower your pressure, because it would eat up the cholesterol in the arteries. But did it tell us that garlic, not only does it remove the plaque or the cholesterol, it eats the membrane, because garlic is unstable. It is another product that was made by man through the process of hybridization and cross-pollination. Garlic is a poison. Garlic has an oxide known as the oxide of allyl. This is why when you put garlic on a knife and you cut someone, the wound would never heal.